Kung Fu Panda 4. The fourth installment of Kung Fu Panda. Not too sure if it's going to be the final one or not. I feel like it should be the final one. Part of me kind of wishes they would have stopped at 3, but 4 is actually better than 3 by a mile. I have a few issues with the new one, but overall it had non-stop action. Bryan Cranston returns as Poe's dad, and I feel like the chemistry between the two dads, were actually the best parts of the movie, and not just the kung fu, which is really good kung fu action. Viola Davis plays the chameleon, an actual memorable villain, even though her screen time is not as much as I would like it to be. And speaking of screen time, the Furious 5 basically have none. That's the only downside and the only real disappointment. Sometimes it is a little too fast-paced of action, but that's not necessarily too bad of a thing. We have a few new characters. We have a few returning characters, cameo characters from previous movies, notably the main villain from the first movie, Tai Long. Jack Black is always good as Poe. The humor's still very funny. And I feel like I don't know, for whatever reason, the third movie felt like the weakest out of the trilogy. Usually the third movies are the weakest link. That's probably because the villain, though it was voiced by J.K. Simmons in the third movie, I couldn't really remember his character or anything outside of him being a boar, and his name was Kai. And with Chameleon, there's a little bit of backstory. She wanted to be a kung fu master, but she got rejected, and she has powers to change into anything, and she tries to get the staff from Poe. Poe doesn't want to move on from being a dragon warrior. We have this new character that's a thief that surprisingly isn't annoying, even though she's kind of like, active. I don't know how to describe it. It's voiced by, I forgot how to say her name, Afrika. I don't know how to say her name, but a lot of her movies are hit or miss with a lot of people, but I generally thought she was a decent character. There are some very predictable cliche stuff in the movie, but overall I would give it an 8 out of 10 or a 7.5. It's a good action movie for the kids and definitely worth watching. I feel like some of the other like the Furious 5 not being in the movie really at all, really kind of sucked to me. I mean, I don't know if they didn't feel like paying the actors or whatnot. The budget was actually lower, and you could kind of tell the budget wasn't as high as the other two. Maybe it might be the lowest one out of the 4 movies. But like I said, there's good chemistry between Bryan Cranston and the other father, which I can't remember his name, but he's a legendary actor. I feel bad that I'm forgetting his name. Jack Black is always good. And I feel like, again, the action and even the music is actually really good in the movie, too. I can't remember that much of the third one in terms of besides Bryan Cranston and the villain, and I thought Poe was going to have like a family at the end, and then they kind of just ignored that in this movie, from what I remembered. Oh, and Master Shifu was hilarious too. Can't forget about him. Dustin Hoffman, he was really good in that too. But yeah, overall 7.5, 8 out of 10. There really wasn't many movies out last month that I saw, and the movie I did see was unfortunately Madam Web. And that's getting really bad reception. And at least there's 2 other movies this month that I will be watching is Ghostbusters and Godzilla X Kong.